Sentences are one of the building blocks of a language. It is important for language students to understand what is a sentence and what are the different types of sentence in terms of structure and functions. So in this presentation, I would discuss the definition of a sentence and the different types of sentence in terms of its structure and functions. So let us begin with the definition of a sentence. A sentence is basically a group or set of words that gives complete sense or meaning. So there could be a set of words or a group of words that might not give complete sense or meaning. A sentence, a group of words or set of words is only called sentence when it gives complete sense. Generally, a sentence will consist of a subject and a predicate. What is a subject? The subject in a sentence does something, or something is ascribed to or mentioned about it. A predicate, on the other hand, is a part of the sentence that states something about the state or action of the subject. This part contains the verb as well. So here are two examples. Ali is my friend. Here subject is Ali and predicate is my friend. Similarly, Ali ate an apple. This is a sentence where Ali is the subject and then the part ate an apple is actually the predicate. So here we can see that Ali, which is the subject of the sentence, does something. And what is it that Ali is doing? Eating an apple. So ate an apple is the predicate and it actually is describing the action that Ali has done. Now, before we could understand the different types of sentences in terms of structure and in terms of functions, we need to understand certain relevant terms in language, and these include phrase, clause, and sentence. What is a phrase? A phrase is a group of words that does not make sense on its own. So, for example, here is a group of words consisting of three words: a good teacher, a good teacher. This does not make sense on this group of words does not make sense on its own. Clause. A clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb and makes sense but perhaps not a complete sense on its own. So here is another group of words, and this group of words has the words a good teacher is an essential part. So we can see here that this clause or this group of words makes some sense, but it does not give complete sense to the listener or to the reader. So this group of words that actually has a verb and a subject and gives some sense but not complete sense is called the clause. A sentence then is something that gives complete sense. So here is a group of words that contains a subject, a verb, and makes complete sense or complete thought. So for example, a good teacher is an essential part of a successful school. So here you can see that there is a group of words that has a subject, the good teacher, and then it has a verb, and then it also gives a complete sense. So a subject, this group of words contains a subject and a predicate, and the third attribute of this group of words is that it gives complete sense. So this type of or this group of words will then be considered as a sentence. Now, the types of sentence by structure. There are three types of sentences by structure: the simple sentence, the compound sentence, and the complex sentence. The simple sentence, a sentence that consists of one clause, will be considered as a simple sentence. For example, Ali ate an apple. He is my friend. Please go to school. He was not interested in studies. All of these sentences have one clause. So there is a verb in each of these. So there is a subject in each of these sentences, and then there is a predicate. And the predicate part consists of a verb, and then the description of the verb. And so these are examples of simple sentences. Compound sentences, on the other hand, are sentences that consist of two main clauses joined together by a conjunction, such as and, but, or, yet, after, and so on. So here you can see an example of this. Ali bought an apple. So this is one clause, and gave it to Salman. And there is another clause. And so this sentence with two clauses, and both of these clauses are independent clauses, because one clause does not depend for giving meaning or sense on the other clause. And so they're combined together, joined together by and, which is the conjunction. Similarly, he started business, one clause, but failed to earn good money. And so the but conjunction, and after that we see the other clause. And so this is an example of a compound sentence. The complex sentence, on the other hand, as we can see, is representing a complex thought. Why does it represent a complex thought? Because here the complex sentence consists of a main clause joined together with a supporting or subordinate clause through a conjunction. So, in contrast to the compound sentence, what we see here is that there is one main clause and the other one is a supporting or subordinate clause. That's not an independent clause. And these are joined together by conjunctions such as although, despite, if, so that, since, because, etc. So in the first example, you can see, although he really worked hard, Ali failed in examinations. In the examination. Here the main clause is Ali failed in the examination, while the supporting one or the subordinate one is he really worked hard. Similarly, the second one, his anger grew stronger despite all the calming down tactics used by his friends. Here his anger grew stronger is the main clause that can actually give sense on its own, but after the conjunction despite, all calming down tactics used by his friends will not be in a position to give complete sense without actually combining it with the main clause. So we can see that the dependent clause is actually, or the supporting or subordinate clause is actually dependent on the main clause for giving sense. Then she was the favorite child of her parents because of her good habits. So again, you can see that these two clauses, one, the independent clause or the main clause, and the subordinate or supporting clause, combine together to give this complex sentence to us.